I definitely have anger, and it's more my anger has been towards the driver just because, and not because of the accident. It was more anger because he was a terrible friend afterwards. He basically disappeared on me after, the accident was an accident. I forgave him for that. It happened. He looked down at his phone, and that's what caused the accident. It's something that I used to be bad about, texting and driving. So it was something that, and he had driven my car many times before. So it wasn't anything new. So I was not mad that the accident was an accident. It was more of how he treated me and handled the situation afterwards that caused a lot of that anger. And so most of it was geared towards that and the things that I had lost, my basketball career being taken from me.
The guy, he shouldn't have even been on the road that day. Um, I'm angry about, I'm angry to a sense to where it happened, then I'm not angry to the point to where now I can talk about it or I can help somebody else out. But I was angry when it first happened. It took me a while to get over it. I'm still dealing with it now mentally. My emotions are up and down, like I said, based on the fact that I am dealing with it now mentally. I'm angry, like I said, I wish I would have that day slept on the side of the road longer or didn't go that way.
I think I've dealt with anger towards myself because it was a decision I made, diving in that lake. And I think I blame myself a lot for that. And I blame myself for my parents having to stop their lives and help me. But when I really think about that, I think, people that are in a car accident and have this type of injury, they wish that they would have never gotten in the car. Or for me, I wish I never took that dive, something that I'd done 1,000 times, but it was something that I wish I could go back and redo. And I felt angry and frustrated for a long time with that. And I think I'm still forgiving myself for it and trying to find a place that I'm not constantly frustrated with myself.
Going back to me saying that this accident didn't happen to everybody, I had a girlfriend that we had been dating for almost 3 years when this happened. And that wound up taking a toll on our relationship so bad we wound up breaking up. Right? It's nobody's fault, I don't think. But all of those things are traced back to that one event. And I think that's what makes me angry is that one event literally changed everything in every aspect of my life. And I think that it makes me more angry that nothing is normal anymore. Everything is different. If I could just go have some sense of normalcy as far as with my friend group, with, the life that I had, I think I would feel a lot better about it. But I'm angry because it's all different,
I was born and raised in Atlanta, and we both were. So we went to the same high school, knew a lot of the same people. And the interesting thing is, in a situation like that, for whatever reason, people take sides, and, folks knew him as one kind of person. And people typically don't want to believe the worst in somebody when they do something like that. So they try to make excuses for it, which typically manifests itself in victim blaming. She must have done something to cause it. Somehow she must have broken his heart. She must have been cheating. She must have done this. So I find that, especially in a situation like mine, social media and I was also in a situation where I got a lot of media attention in the beginning because of my incident. So, trying to cope with that just made me feel just absolute rage, that people would blame me for what he did, that he would that he would do it in the first place, and then that I couldn't even do anything about it. He was nowhere around. I was angry at his family. I was angry. It just felt like I was just angry that, things hadn't just played out just a little differently that might have changed the scenario. I was angry at myself for not seeing it coming. I was angry at my dad for not seeing it coming. It was just a lot.
It is totally normal to feel angry about an accident like this. As a matter of fact, it's another one of those feelings that I am surprised that if somebody says they don't feel angry about it. Because, again, this is a life-changing, all of a sudden thing that happened.
I think oftentimes what I hear from patients, what they're angry about is maybe the person involved that might have caused the accident. Other times I hear people actually angry at themselves for maybe being the reason for the accident. I was being stupid and I shouldn't have dove off the bridge, or maybe I shouldn't have been drunk driving. I'm the reason for this accident. I'm self-blaming. I'm really angry at myself. Other things I hear about patients is sort of loss of control of their environment or their body. I'm really angry that people have to help me out. I'm really angry that I have to ask for help for small things. Or losing situations, right? Like I've lost my job because of this accident, or I've lost the role within my family. I'm no longer the breadwinner, or I'm the one that usually fixes things. My daughters and everyone would come to me to fix things. I'm no longer the Mr. Fixer or Mrs. Fixer.
It comes out very quickly, like I'll snap at somebody, or I'll snap at myself sometimes, quietly, or just kind of, I don't really know. It comes and it goes. Sometimes I hold it in a little bit more, and sometimes I'll just wait till I'm by myself to let it out.
Expressing my anger is something I never really knew how to do. Right? I was never really good at. I never really had a lot of anger in the first place growing up, but when I did, it was really hard for me to express. Right? I never really had an outlet with sports or anything like that. All I had was my friends, and my family.
It comes out differently, man. One day I can be the captain of a sailor ship. Next day I can be an angel. It varies. I can, like I said, I can snap, cuss, try to maliciously. It's like it's hard to really define it because it's so many ways you can portray that side of you that you don't want to be seen.
Sometimes I think anger too, you just need to express it. I mean, you need to be able to be angry. You need to be able to vent. You need to be able to let somebody know that you're pissed off. Now, there's a way to do this in terms of, I'm not talking about that you're going and yelling at anyone and everyone that comes across your path. That's not very productive. It may be that some of your anger, you work it out, you go to the gym and you work it out. It may be that certainly that you do have a session with somebody where you sit down, and I'm not talking about counseling, but you sit down with your best friend and you just have a total vent session. Most of us have had times where we've sat down with friends and we've just had an all-out round vent session about something that we're mad about, whether it's work or home or our significant other. It doesn't matter who it is. It may be that you just need to be able to blow it out, get it out of your system. What you want to be mindful of is, are you doing something that's healthy, or are you doing something that's not healthy? For example, are you getting so drunk that now you're making poor choices again? Are you getting in your car and racing because you're so angry, and now you put yourself and other people in a situation that could be harmful? Anger often motivates us. Anger, if we put it toward a positive way, can really move us in a positive direction. For example, athletes, who maybe get really revved up and really angry actually may play better in the game that they're playing. It's really about, can you manage that anger in a productive way so that you're not further causing yourself any harm, or anybody else for that matter.
The question is, how do you express your anger if you're not able to put words on it? I hear that from a lot of folks. I think anger is such a hard thing to sometimes express and kind of hold. And sometimes physical ways of exerting that or expressing that is completely normal. And again, I think with a spinal cord injury, people are like, well, I can't, work out as I used to kind of pent that energy out into something that's productive, like running. So how do I do this with my body, that if I'm not able to run? And so the question, when I get that, I say, okay, so what can you do? One of my patients, I'm going to tell a story right now. He was really angry. There was a car accident that led him to become a tetraplegic, and he had a hard time with anger. So one time what we did was we went out to the garage and he screamed, primal screams. And afterwards he said, I felt so good because I didn't know how else to kind of express my anger in words. And I didn't know how else to express my anger because I could no longer work out. So when he did go home, he would find moments to scream. And that was the way he expressed it. So if you have a lot higher level of injuries, there's some other ways to express your anger, whether it's making faces, screaming, or making strange noises. If you're able to move some of your upper extremities, able to wring a towel, shredding paper apart, journaling would be another one. Or unless you don't want to express in words, maybe just scribbling or drawing with markers, just random scribbles. If you're able to do a little bit more, maybe even asking your therapist, right? What are some exercises I can do to kind of use whatever pent up energy I have inside of me into something physical? And that's kind of, I think, twofold, right? You are able to express yourself with anger, and then also you're doing some rehab at the same time.
For additional resources, please visit our website.